All right, everybody. Sorry about that. Here we go. Welcome to today's call. It is Friday, June 22nd of 2018. This is the TRC sales training call. And as you know, last week we had our illustrious team from Ottawa, led in this case on the sales front by Sarah Corey, and we had in the hot seat Pat and Dave. So I put a challenge to them last week and said, look, go out, try some of what you learned here, and record a couple new calls, and we'll deal with it. So at the beginning of the call, we're going to do that. If it's the first time you're coming on, or you're part of a crew here that has been paying attention all along, like Voltaire's team. I know he has a new intern here that's covering probates for him. So I want to make sure I get through these follow-up calls and then get to a Q&A session today about other sales challenges, whether they be inside and outside sales, because there is a lot going on here, okay? So when I open up the microphones, remember, I have live mics here, and I would appreciate if you were just cognizant of the fact that you can hit *6 or just mute your mic, so we can't hear all your background noise. Otherwise, I have to put you in what I call voice jail, and I don't want to do that to you, okay? So here we go. Here's your test. Let's see who's paying attention. Sarah, are you there with me?
Hi, Danny. I'm here.
Okay, excellent. And we have Pat and Dave back in the hot seat, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, awesome. So let's see if we can't open up this first call. I'm going to go. Do you have a preference as to where I go, Pat or Dave?
It doesn't really matter. We started with Pat last week, so if you want to start with Dave.
Okay, Dave's in the hot seat.
Let's do it.
Hey, guys, hang on one second. Okay, guys, when you come in here, you come in a little bit hot. Just, you have to hit *6, otherwise I get distracted, and I'm playing telephone operator versus coach. So let me focus here back again, and let's get this going. You wanted to do whose? Dave or Pat?
Let's start with Dave.
Okay, here we go, Dave. This is Dave's follow-up call.
Oui, allô?
Hi, may I please speak to Melissa?
This is she.
Hi, Melissa. This is Dave. I'm calling from Metro City Property Group with Remax. How you doing today?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So the reason I'm calling is because you were looking for a free home evaluation at 189 West Haven Crescent, and I just have a few questions so I can get that out to you. Is that okay?
Sure.
Alrighty. So that address is correct, right? 189 West Haven Crescent?
Yes.
Alrighty. And do you know what year the home was built?
Not offhand.
Roughly, do you know?
For this?
Roughly, sorry?
It was in the 60s, I think.
In the 60s, okay. And what style of home is it? Is it a single-family home?
It's a semi-detached.
Semi-detached. And it's a two-story or a bungalow?
2-story.
Two-story. Is there a garage?
No.
No garage. And is it like a large plot? Do you know the lot size by chance?
I don't know the lot size. It is a corner lot, so it is fairly well sized.
Okay. Do you know the square footage?
No, I don't know any of that information.
Okay, no problem.
I'm the most useless, like, when it comes to dimensions.
That's okay. You did say it was 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and those bathrooms, are they both full bathrooms, or is there a powder room?
It is a full bathroom upstairs, and it is a bathroom shower in the basement.
Shower, basement. Okay, and the one upstairs, is that an ensuite or just a regular for everyone?
Just a regular.
Already. And the 3 bedrooms, are they all above the basement, or are they all above grade?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. And the basement itself, is it a finished basement?
It is finished.
Already. And can you think of anything that would positively or negatively affect the value of the home? Any recent renovations that you've done or anything like that?
No.
Alright. And do you have an idea in your head what the property might be worth?
No, I really don't. It was really just out of curiosity that I filled that out.
Okay. So what we're actually finding right now is there is a low amount of inventory on the market. But there is still a lot of buyers out there. And whenever you have a situation, obviously, whenever you have a low supply but a high demand, what ends up happening is the price of a lot of properties is driven up. And what we found is that homes are actually selling since last year's May, 8% more than they were last year. Is that something that you've sort of been paying attention to that spurred on your curiosity?
Just a little bit. I had heard, like, I did see a news story about that.
Okay. And would you be compelled to put your property on the market if you got a price that you felt was over and above what you were expecting?
I don't know, it's really not really concrete yet for me at this point. We have 5 kids, right? So.
Oh wow, big family.
Yeah.
Another
We're sort of living day to day.
Okay.
We're living in the moment.
Okay. How old are all the kids?
The oldest is 12.
Okay, so they're all fairly young.
Yeah, that's pretty small.
Yeah, because with the 3 bedrooms, are you guys looking to sort of upsize into something bigger, or are you guys comfortable with that?
We're pretty okay now. We really don't want to leave the neighborhood, and there isn't much in the neighborhood that is actually bigger.
Right.
So it's okay for now. It still fits us for the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're just sort of trying to put together, preliminary ideas about what you were doing, but you don't have any concrete plans?
No, I was just really curious.
Okay. All right, so what I can do for you is I can send you what we call an area sales report.
Right.
We actually do offer in-home evaluations for people that are looking to sell, but
Right.
it seems as though you're sort of still in the first
We're
stages
not
of that.
quite there.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think that would be a good use of anybody's time.
Yeah, I agree.
So what I can do is I can send you an area sales report, and what that is going to look at the last year of sales in your district of homes that are similar to yours. It'll tell you what they listed for, what they ended up selling for, and how long they were on the market for. So it'll give you sort of a general ballpark range on what to expect for what your home could be worth. Now, in order to get that exact number, someone would need to come into the home to give you that proper evaluation, and then they would, an expert realtor would say, this is what homes on the market are selling for, and this is what we would price your home at to make sure we got the most money possible. But I think that sort of thing would be something that we could probably do in the future if you decide to go in that direction. So what I want to do for you for now, I just want to make sure I have your email address here correctly. FERLAND10@hotmail.com. Is that correct?
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
All right. So I'll send you an area sales report that'll have all the properties that are similar to yours that sold. And then, next week on Monday, after you've had time to look it over with you and your family, and if you say, you know what, these numbers look great, let's try and find something and go in that direction, then we're certainly ready to help you out with that. And if not, we can maybe get the ball rolling in a year from now, 2 years from now, whatever timing works best for you. We're more than happy to accommodate you that way and do whatever's in your best interest. So I'll send you that email, and then we'll talk again on Monday. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Awesome. All right, you have a great weekend. Okay.
You too. Thanks.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
All right, Dave, I'm going to start with you. What are you hearing? Tell me what you're hearing yourself. Critique yourself.
I was going on and on a little bit too much. I'm getting too into the details a little bit too much.
Okay, good. Anything else? No? That's what you hear?
I don't
Mostly?
know. I mean, hearing yourself's always weird, right?
Yep. Right.
So I sound different when you sound in your own head.
Okay.
But
What do you think? What do you
type it
think
up.
in your head? What do you think in your head? What would you have heard in your head?
I don't know. I think I need to tighten it up a little bit more. That's the main issue.
Okay. I think that's a good self-critique. Sarah, what do you hear?
I hear, I think a lot of the things were being repeated that didn't necessarily need to be repeated so much. And she was kind of like getting to the point like, yeah, okay. And you could hear her trying to rush. Either she was busy, distracted with the kids running around, or she wanted him to kind of tighten it up a bit too. That's kind of what I heard.
Okay. Is Hannah on?
Yeah,
Hannah, what'd you hear?
So
pretty much what my other colleagues have also mentioned, is that if I would have just shortened that by half, knowing one of the first things I try to speak about is timing and motivation, and when someone tells me I'm absolutely not ready, I'm just going to get the bare bones of their house and then send them an area sales report, because at that point you don't need that much detail.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Dave, just out of curiosity, how many calls do you make in a session? First of all, when you sit down to do the inside sales work, also known as BDA for you guys, what time blocks do you have?
In regular shift, try to do, close to 60 dials, and usually end up having like 15 conversations or so. Like 15 conversations like that. As long as people are picking up,
Okay.
Hey guys, I have a quick question.
Yeah. Yeah, hang on to it for a second. Hang on.
so
Hey,
are
Lisa, hang
Oh,
on.
yeah.
Hang on to it for a second. Let me just go through their team. Do we still have Tarek and Steve as well on the call or not?
Tarek is here.
Hey, brother, I don't know if you heard the whole thing, but if you did, even part of it.
I did.
Okay, pal, what'd you hear?
I did. Well, I mean, I agree with the rest of our team, but I do have to commend him, because I think he's come very far in terms of his tonality, in my opinion.
Okay,
I
good.
thought his tonality was really good.
Good. Tell me about that. Where was he, and where did he come to? That's important to hear from a team leader.
He came, when Dave first started, his tonality was a lot more monotone when he started, and I think that now it sounds like he's got more, oomph in his step or energy in his voice.
Good.
I think he's doing a good job of slowing it down when he needs to, and raising his voice and bringing it down when he needs to. And we did a lot of training with him for that, so I think I'm happy to actually hear,
Good.
The way that he sounds. Now, the call itself could have maybe been a little bit shorter and more to the point, like Hannah said, but I thought he sounded good on the phone, which, I think is very, very important part of this, obviously.
Yeah, good. So that's good critique from everybody involved. And by the way, if you don't recognize what I did, I went from the general manager to the inside sales manager to the owner, the guy doing it. So that was everybody's feedback here. Laura, sitting with me as the expert of doing this for 12 years, what'd you hear? What'd you think?
I agree. I liked his tone. Very more casual, I think, this time, which was good. I do think it should have been shorter. I agree with Hannah. I think as you progress in the field of doing this,
Yeah.
you can identify when there's an appointment to
Yeah.
be had.
Yeah.
And she was very clear that this was just, very preliminary type of thing. So as soon as you hear that, that would be your cue to be short, sweet, and to the point, and then just get off.
Yeah.
Because there's no real opportunity in that moment,
Yeah.
other than just building
Yeah.
a relationship.
Yeah, and that's right. I mean, we're moving in the direction. Let me speed coach this, because I think it's easy to do. I agree with everything that's been said, but I'm going to go deeper. Number one, where are the why questions right up front? Like, why are you doing this? What do you need this for? Right? I mean, right up front, because the minute there's engagement, you're trying to gauge whether you're wasting Tarek's time, money, and effort to have you sitting in this seat doing this and to have the ladies managing you. Like, why? The original feedback here is this is presumably somebody who has asked for information on a property, and your curiosity per se is why. We can't wait to get it to you, but just wondering, while I have you, why are you requesting it? You would have known right up front, well, I'm just curious. Oh, really? What got your curiosity? I mean, right away. That's the number one thing that's going to edit this down is, why am I engaging with her? And then all the frustration, because I'm presuming that these calls are being recorded, then all the frustration of the team leader, owner, and the managers of that situation, there's no guessing. We got this contact information. We gave it to you. You did a great job by connecting. Your tone was wonderful, but the structure still is not there. Mm-hmm. Hey, before I ask you a few questions about the property, just out of curiosity, why did you request the information? Why? Oh, really? So on a scale to 1 to 10, what would your motivation to be to sell the property? Oh, I'm only at a 7. Oh, really? I don't know if you knew this, but the market's really increasing. If you got a solid number for the house, would there be any reason why you would move? Of course there would, because she's messing with it. Her curiosity, albeit further away, but the sequence of your information is out of whack, and that's why you're rambling. And that's why this is way too long. You're rambling. You really do need to, as a group, train on these beats, okay? Hey, just want to acknowledge that you requested some information and I'm putting it together for you. While I have you, before I ask you some specifics about the property, why did you request it? Are you trying to make a move? Like, just get that curiosity, and that will help the tone because it becomes conversational, and it will open it up where she won't have to be any kind of defensive or standoffish. But it was like, oh my gosh, I wanted to raise the white flag for her because you were doing what your perception is correct. You were just peppering her with questions that she was trying to politely say, I'm not that person. I don't know. Like, you're too far into questions that are not relevant to this conversation. Okay? It's an order of things, and we need to learn that. That's why we fret having scripts and performances that are organized. Yes, tone, brilliant. Okay? Again, 2 weeks in a row, I have found your tone to be engaging, inviting, very calm, and upbeat at the same time. Bravo. But the structure of the call, and I want Sarah and Hannah to hear this as well, and obviously Pat, but I want you to hear this. The problem is not that he goes too long, not that he should cut in half. Cut what in half? No, bring a structure, and by default, it will be shorter. That makes sense, Dave?
Yeah.
Dave?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I think I'll tell you, I agree with what you're saying 100%. I'll give you a little bit of my thought process about
Good.
the way in which I was doing it.
Good.
And I'm going to adjust you the way that you do it, of course. But I'll give you a little bit of feedback where I was coming from with that approach. Basically, what I was finding when I would open up with the question about, are you selling the property, or are you thinking of making a move, or any of those sort of questions, I find people sort of have their guard up, and they don't want to get into those sort of conversations with someone that they just started talking to. So since they're looking for home evaluations, my thought process was, I'm going to give them, that home evaluation thing, get it out of the way, and then once I sort of, have a conversation flowing, I'll bring in that, so are you thinking of, maybe selling the property? And I'll get into that sort of conversation.
All right, good, stop. All right, good, stop. Hold on, stop for a second. I like it. And by the way, it's not the way I do it. I'm trying to dig into best practices every week here. Nobody's perfect at this because there's a human being on the phone. And I like what you're saying, okay? Here's what I think you need to do. I think if you're going to do what you just said, because it's a good thought process, you're thinking in your experience, which is more important to me than anything else. If your experience is that in Ottawa, very particular behavior of people to people there, as we discussed on last week's call, if it's really common that people are getting a little standoffish if you start asking up front, because how you ask matters, then stay with what's comfortable. It's a decent order of things. Hey, Dave, it's Danny Griffin calling from Griffin Realty Group. The reason I'm calling is because you asked for a home evaluation. So I'm working on that now, and I just want to get it right. So I need a few details about the property. Is that okay? Sure. Great. I just want to verify. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, right? Just much quicker. Much quicker. Like, hit the basics. 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Yeah.
One of the things I was doing there, I guess I was just trying to go too deep. I was saying stuff like, okay, so is the bathroom upstairs? And
Way
honestly,
too deep. Way too deep. We talked about that last week, and you've got to get off of that. That is not your job, per se, at this moment in time. You are an inside sales agent trying to qualify the quality of this potential situation for the owner who's spending the money to get the contact info and the team to convert it. That's your number one job, is to serve this group properly, which means qualification of this human being's request. What does it mean to all of you in that team? What does it mean? Because as the owner, I want to know that I'm giving you the best quality contact info, and then I want to set you up for success. And that's why we're spending so much time with your particular team this week, because it's a great benefit to everybody. The beats are, hey, and I'm okay with the beats that you just suggested. Try it. You got another week where we're going to try it again. So you're going to say, hey, I saw that you got the property, requested a property evaluation. A couple questions about the specifics of the property so that I can get this correctly. Is that okay if I have a few questions? But it's a checklist. Bedrooms, bathrooms, like any extra features, boom, get off it. Whatever they're going to be, I'll let you as a team determine what those are. But get off of it. Hey, by the way, now that we're engaged in this conversation, what was the reason for asking for this? I don't care if the order is flip-flopped, but just be in and out of there quickly, right? There's beats. It's like, and again, I had the benefit of doing this TV show thing where you could do a reality TV show and ramble on for 24 hours, and that's what people think TV is. It's not. It's beats. Hit the beat. Move. Hit the beat. Move. Right? Now, it never sounds like beats to the naked eye watching the TV show. It's supposed to seem seamless, which it will become for you. But whatever beats you guys are going to have and own, you better own them, because you don't. You just don't. So we're never going to get by on tone alone. And it's just not going to, that's called selling on muscle. And the irony is, you began to sell. My notes, here are my notes. Where are the why questions? Match her pace. Laura was kind of hinting at this. You've got to match this gal's pace. She just told you she has 5 kids. You can hear one of them in the background. I also heard a dog barking. I mean, come on, man. Like, listen, right? You got to hear that stuff. Hey, it sounds like the kids are in the background. Acknowledge it. So matching her pace means being fully cognizant of what she's saying in a tennis match way. Next, why were you getting into the market so early to convince her? Hey, I don't know if you know, things are up 8%. Later, much later. That's much later. If you think that she's actually closer as you get forward, say, geez, you know what? It sounds like you're kind of on the fence whether you're going to do something now or later. Let me just tell you, right now, things are up 8% and inventory's short. That would be appropriate then, but not this sort of non sequitur in the middle of the conversation that felt wildly random to me, right? And obviously just too much detail, but you caught yourself on that one, right? Way too much. Wasting time and too much selling. I think the more you got lost, you lost your buoy, okay? A script and an outline with beats in it is your buoy. When you feel like you're drowning, which you were, you got to go back to your buoy. You have to almost reset yourself. It's okay to take a breath yourself and latch back onto your scripted performance, or at least your outline as to where you are, right? So there you go. I thought it was, again, you're a good inside sales agent on his way to being very good, okay? You really are. Even the owner of your company recognized your positive, upbeat tone, and that's what he wants. He wants somebody to represent his company in an upbeat way. Bravo, 2 weeks in a row. I love that. And the rest of the stuff, the good news for you, is absolutely just strategy. You've got to have your strategy outlined. Sarah, like whatever these beats are going to be, you and Hannah and the rest of the BDA team, you're going to absolutely stick to these strategies and these beats. I don't care how awkward it feels in the beginning, and I'm talking about yours. I'm not dictating what those beats should be to you. I do believe there should be something about the property specifics and the why they're moving. If you want to flip-flop them either way, test both, whatever you want to do, I think that matters. Okay? So let's go to Pat's. Good job, as usual, Dave. Proud of you for the evolution.
Thank you, Danny. I really appreciate the feedback.
No sweat.
I find it very helpful.
No sweat. Well, you and
Well,
Pat.
Danny, I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead, Lise, real quick, because I got to keep the pace going. Keep going. Go ahead.
Yeah, totally. So when you're doing these cold calls, I'm not sure if they're leads coming off of like your website or if you're just cold calling from like a dialer. But isn't it possible too, because it sounds like you're asking a lot of basic questions, that you could pull up on a PRD or even an old listing, and that might help and also make you sound more knowledgeable. If I already know you have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, it has a 2-car garage.
Yeah, it's a very good question, by the way. Thank you. And so let's first ask the question. These are birthed off the internet, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. And they are birthed...
They're internet leads.
Yeah.
They're internet leads. And,
Okay.
and Danny, there is a process with regards to how they were supposed to go through, the team goes through it. But I always suggest that we check it out on our title search.
Yep,
We
good.
have a title search application that we use. And
Good.
we also have Google Maps. So even if you can't find the information, you can kind of generally see from Google Maps
Yes.
what sort of house you're dealing with. And
Yes.
you can double check with them when you're asking them the questions of the details.
Yes, excellent. So, Lisa, excellent point to bring up to tighten up what you already know. There's no need to waste time getting stuff that you know, because that's the outside sales job to gauge what they really have when we show up. So, good feedback. Lisa, thank you, Hannah, for the follow-up. Make sure that's being trained on the team and that everybody, when they make their calls, have the Google Map window open. They have the access to whatever the state or city government offers. Yes, because that's also going to make you sound more intelligent during these 15 conversations, that you've actually been proactive already. Okay? All right, here we go. Let's keep rolling. Pat.
Hello?
Oh, John.
Yes.
Hey, John, it's Pat calling from Remax. How are you?
I'm good, you?
Good, good. So I know that you're out of town until probably a few days ago.
Yeah, I can get back.
Yeah, okay. So I was just calling to see, I know that you were interested in getting appraisal on your home, find out exactly how much you can sell for in this market. Is that still the case?
Yeah, it is. My wife's not back till the 22nd, so if you could do it after that, that would be great.
The 22nd? Okay, so that's the Friday. So would you guys be available maybe the Monday evening on the 25th?
The Monday, the 25th of June? I would think so.
Okay, so I'll pencil you in for the 25th. I'll give you a call also on the Friday, the 22nd, just to make sure. Just so that way you have a chance to have a quick chat with your wife. So we'll do the 25th. What time would be better for you guys typically?
Probably 6 or so.
6 p.m. Okay. And so you're at 500 Claridge, Unit 206. How many bedrooms in your unit?
2.
2 bedrooms. Okay. And bathrooms?
2.5.
2.5. And is that a 1-story condo or is that a 2-story condo?
2-story.
2-story condo. Okay. I was just figuring 2.5 bath. That's pretty big for a 1-story condo. And so are you guys looking to purchase within the city, or are you guys moving out of the city?
Not quite sure right now. Depending on what we can get from this place will depend sort of on where we go.
Okay, so not quite sure where you're going to be moving yet.
Yeah.
And in your mind, what do you think the condo is worth, John?
To tell you this, honestly, I don't really know.
You don't know?
I know the condo market's down, and I've probably lost some money on it, but I'm not sure.
Not necessarily. I mean, right now, what's nice for you is that there's not a lot of condos for sale at the moment right now, and there are a lot of buyers out there. So we are seeing that properties are selling for more than what you could say they're actually worth.
Right.
Based on what with the market that we sort of went through, especially for condos in the past 3-4 years. But I mean, when did you purchase the property, John?
When?
Yeah.
Let me see. We've been here 2013.
2013. Okay. And how much did you pay for it then?
$333.
$333. Okay. So what we can do instead is there a number that you wanted to achieve?
I'd like to get above 333, but
okay. So we'll take together with 333. Okay. And what type of flooring did you have throughout?
hardwood throughout.
Throughout. Any tile or carpet?
Tile in the front foyer and in the kitchen and bathrooms.
Okay.
No carpet.
Okay, awesome.
and both of you guys will be there. Let's say you were to move within the city, what type of home would you be looking for?
Probably a bungalow if we could get it, or something small. We're not looking at anything big.
Okay, bungalow small. Obviously, a lot of your decisions are going to be based on how much you can get from this property.
That's right.
Okay. All right, John. So I think I've got enough information right now just to so that we can do our homework beforehand.
Okay.
What I'll do is I'll send you an email right now just to confirm for the 25th at 6, and I will give you a call back on Friday to make sure that it works for both of you. All right?
That's great. Thanks for all.
All right. Awesome, John. We'll talk soon.
All right, bye.
Goodbye.
Pat, self-critique. What do you hear?
Well, it was a follow-up phone call.
Yep.
So it was a little bit easier. I already knew that he was interested in selling. Obviously, I got the close. This particular phone call, I think, went pretty well. Could have probably figured out exactly where they'd be moving when it was out of town. But he is staying within Ottawa. I think he's just, it's either going to be on the outskirts or within the city, depending on how much he actually nets on the seller's home. I figured that out after the call. I actually contacted him again. But other than that, I think it went well.
Okay. Sarah, what do you hear?
Sorry, I didn't know that this one was a follow-up call when I had initially.
It's okay. I like it. I like it. Yep.
So, yeah, I guess, I don't know because I didn't hear the first call. I didn't hear anything about timing or if we sent the home area sales report and that, like what the process would be. So I don't know if that happened on the first call, but I didn't hear anything like that in it. It was just asking questions about the house and how much she wanted to get for it.
I'm curious about the date that this call took place versus today, which is the 22nd, and the 25th is coming up. So when was this call made?
This was on Monday.
Okay, good. So there's a gap of 4 days before he goes back to qualify again, although he's already called back because he recognizes a couple of gaps here in what he was looking for. Okay, Hannah, what'd you hear?
Firstly, I wanted to say that I could hear from the beginning it seemed like a little bit of a follow-up call. I wasn't sure if you spoke to him in the past because the timing and motivation question wasn't really answered. And I think that's something I would narrow down to, even if it's a follow-up call, because a lot of the times if our agents are going to visit a client and then, they're just like, well, yeah, we're not really ready to sell. That can happen. And being able to have that information solidly there before an appointment, I think is very important. Other than that, I think, like Tara said, the tonality is great as well, like Dave, and I think that they're very personable when they're talking to people on the phone and kind of make them feel comfortable and that casual feeling where they're not being sold in any way.
Yep, good. Tarek, what'd you hear?
Well, it was clearly a follow-up call. I'm kind of just wondering what the process looks like in terms of setting that guy a home seller course and a possible pre-list package. That was obviously just an appointment-setting phone call.
Bravo, though.
So did he get any of that stuff, and why? And if he did, if it's been sent, I would ask him, hey, did you get that, and was it helpful? Right? Because we're adding value when we send that stuff. So I want to know that they got it. I want to know that it's actually being sent out. So it's a little bit unclear. That call, to be honest, didn't give me really too much to work with.
Yeah. Well, and that might be the problem, and that's why I'm glad we followed up. We did a follow-up call, as if follow-up calls aren't more important than an initial call, right? I can't think. I'm sitting here looking at Laura, and I'm sitting here saying, as the owner of my company, oh my gosh, the follow-up call is the most important call of all. He did say to me just now in his own self-critique, I got the close. Oof, be careful of that, because if that's the goal, and we all know where we stand with this whole, it's the appointment thing, this is what happens when it's too much of the appointment thing in our head. Well, I got the appointment. Yeah. Well, so what? So what? What kind of an appointment did you get? What kind of a relationship is the OSA going into meetup with, right? I mean, all that really is critical stuff. So the reason for my question about when did you make this call and when was the follow-up call at least, that's a huge gaping hole where there's time to make sure, hey, you know what? I think will be helpful before we come over. We're going to send you a copy of our home seller course. It outlines the 7 steps of what to do to max your value, because I know you're concerned about getting at least the 333. This will really help you begin to understand how to be properly prepared, right, for us. So what to do is coming in the mail. I'll also get you started in some properties and some condos that have sold. Let me send that to you too, so that you can see the limited inventory. You can see the pricing. There's got to be so much more here. Like, to me, it's thin soup and we're dismissing it, probably subconsciously, as, well, it's just a follow-up call. Right, and that's the problem. It's being treated just that way. It's the stepchild, right? That's what I almost said, redheaded stepchild, but she's sitting right next to me, and I'd have gotten killed by her and my brother. It is the stepchild call in our mindset, and that's wrong. Mm-hmm. It's actually the most important call right before the appointment to set up this unbelievably quality appointment, especially if we haven't determined whether they're meeting with other people, which I didn't hear anywhere in here. By the way, the guy made it clear that the other decision maker wasn't going to be there. And so, I'm okay with that. But are you meeting with other people? Have you already gone out and seen some properties? Oh, really? Did you go out and is any agent helping you on that side? I mean, that's just all missed here, right? I'm not saying it's your fault, Pat, but I'm just saying that's why when we get this, well, I got the appointment, that's my job, and I go to the OSA. Well, hey, thanks for the pass with my head down, coming up center ice, and the defenseman's leaning in on me, ready to take my teeth out, right? That's the way I'd feel if appointments were being passed off to me with less than thorough information. And she'll tell you, sitting right next to me, that 7 months ago, 8 months ago, whenever it was, maybe longer, I said, look, you can't send me out like this. These qualifying questions, I'm going in there and I have to go do all this sweating and I'm going in blind. I like to go in on greased skids because I've got this difficult job to do. You should come see how difficult the job is to do. So all this, Sarah, this is definitely for you and Hannah from a training standpoint. All these questions about hardwood floors and that's the OSA's job to see with their eyes and make adjustments. The ISA's job is to qualify, right? And like Tarek just nailed, give them more insightful, helpful information in case from now to Monday, somebody else gets referred to them. Somebody else is in competition. Are you meeting with other people? Well, yeah, my sister's cousin. Oh, shoot. I better really go above and beyond. And that's just not here. Pat, not your fault, because it's just... It's not on the sheet.
They need to rearrange the sheet.
Yeah.
Less questions about the house and more questions about timing. Are you interviewing other agents?
Yeah.
Motivation, like that. That is the ISA's job. Like, who cares if they have hardwood floors throughout? It really makes no difference.
At that moment, it's irrelevant.
It is.
It is irrelevant. I could say one thing that the ISA would be a good thing for them to get was, is there anything since you've owned it that you've done that I couldn't see online here with the town or something like that? Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay?
Like
Maybe. But even then, you send me to a house, Laura, and it has a finished basement, I'm going to make the adjustment in the house. If the hardwoods are gleaming, so what if they're hardwoods? What if they're crappy looking? Right?
Yeah, what
so
if they're from the 1960s?
you got it. So I think the issue here with me is, and I'm enthusiastic for it, either that or the iced coffee is really strong. I am really enthusiastic about you all getting much better at digging in. And what Tarek said, I gave him I don't know if you heard me, brother, I gave you an applause for recognizing, well, what other information did we send? What content marketing did we do already? And are we going to do between now and the appointment?
And that should be on the sheet too.
Correct.
Like, what gifts are you going to send them?
Yeah.
And only put it on the sheet more as a reminder to the ISA that is just as important as booking the appointment.
Yeah.
Showing more value.
Good. I'm going to double and triple underline and highlight something though. I think what just bubbled up to the top, and I'm hypersensitive to your team in particular, Tarek, because I'm trying to help you and everybody with this. We a lot of us were birthed into the digital age with leads and then the subsequent hardcore push for appointments even when they weren't there, right? So the bottom line is I still hear, well, I got the close. It's a very dangerous thing that's been programmed into all of our brains, not just Pat's. It's not just Pat's. And in fact, Laura and I can make a case that at times we got detached from that. We got too transactional. And we really, really, really got lost in the way that we really feel about helping people. Hey, why are you making this move? Well, I got 5 kids and the house is, oh boy, I can empathize. I have 5 too. I get it. Making that human connection, where is it? Right? You have a great, both of you guys, Dave and Pat. I like the variant styles. Pat, you're very casual. You sound like an easily met guy to me when you're on the phone. Don't get too casual with people where it's not there. But I just thought both guys got caught up, Sarah, in details that why are those on this sheet? It just is unnecessary in my mind's eye. So I don't know, you want to answer that? Because it's actually distracting them.
I can answer that for you.
Go.
So I actually provided a sheet to my BDAs with regards to the type of questions that I'd like to ask them. The questionnaire for the details of the property is really the last thing. So if in any case, if somebody's ready to meet with us and they're actually ready to sell, that's when you fill out the questions in the questionnaire. The first things I like to cover is, and I provided this to them, is timing and motivation. That's the first thing they ask them. Okay, if they need to buy as well, and if they're working with a realtor. And after that, I'll talk to them about, what sort of financing options. Some people are like, you know what, I need to sell before I buy. So that's why I want to get a free home evaluation. So these are the type of things that I always go into before a conversation happens, or like about, booking an appointment and getting an agent in. And then filling out, the details, the menial details that our agents would need to have an idea of what the house would be worth.
Okay, good. So here's
I'm
your.
not sure, Danny, if you think that's the right way, but that's
I think
how
it
I've
is.
been doing it as a BDA, and I did give that suggestion to my BDAs. That's one of the first things I did when I came in to the team.
Hannah.
Obviously, it's a mindset, and we're still learning.
Well, Hannah, it's more than a mindset. Hannah, it's more than a mindset. It's conditioning. Once the brain is conditioned to go get the appointment at all cost, seeing a new order of things is very difficult.
Yeah,
but it's easy to ask questions, touchy-feely questions about someone's house because you get easy answers. It's harder to be like, when's your timing and motivation questions? So they need to just prioritize like what their purpose is. It's not just the appointment.
It's a quality of the conversation that leads to a super good and understood meeting in the house. I mean, if you all want to be successful at getting the home listed and getting the buy side of it, I mean, we've got to qualify these people. I mean, look, this guy, you made a quick assumption there. Well, obviously, I suppose, based on what you get for the house is, where you're going to, end up buying. And he just yesed you. But that might not be true. Hey, what if we could get you a really good deal on the other side and you ended up with a little bit less or you were upside down? What if we could steal something on the front end? Would you be interested in that? Who wouldn't? You're moving up, right? You're going to get a bungalow. So I would really say that there's so much here to unpack. But the order of things, Hannah and Sarah and Tarek hearing me say it to you two, you guys have got to obsess about the order of the questions you all use. Pat, Dave, as awkward as it feels, and some of your early on calls might be awkward, it is so much more important to get this right if you want to be successful at sales in anything, let alone real estate. It's got to be more organized in the beats. It won't always sound smooth because the human on the other side is in a tennis match with you. And they might throw a lob and you're like, whoop, 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 I got to slow down. And then they might just, chop the shot, cut the shot, and you got to run to the net. You don't know. It's a tennis match. But your buoy is the order of your script. All right, let's open it up for Q&A here. I don't know if you all wanted to add anything to that, but everybody else can jump in and or take me in another direction. Still got a good solid 15 minutes left here. Go. Who's up? And I have a big call, so I better hear from somebody, or I'll hang up on you all.
Take it easy.
It's the coffee, I told you it's good. Come on, let's go. It's a sales training call. Full contact. Unbelievable.
Hey, Danny, it's Leslie.
Thank you. Woo! It's the
Yes,
same cast of
awesome.
characters. Have you all, the rest of you, seen this play already? And you just sit there and make them do all the work? You trolls. Come on, let's go.
No. They're just the best at it.
Oh, yeah.
already.
They are the best at it. Go ahead, Leslie. Fire away.
Okay, you may have done this, but I mean, it came up in the conversation a little earlier. So, can you just talk us through? Well, I want to sell my house first. Well, I don't want to sell my house and then not have a house to go to. That scenario, because that comes up over and over. And just hearing you verbalize how you handle that would be really, just to hear it again would be excellent.
Sure. Well, Leslie, first of all, on my watch, you're never going to be left with homeless. It's not going to happen, and here's why. Depending on how we have to put the two ends of it together, let's just presume that we put your house on the market and it's hot. And we get multiple offers. There is nothing in the contract for listing that says you have to accept one and you have to close before you have another property. In fact, what we would do is just turn to the folks and say, look, we really appreciate that you came in with a full price offer. We've been out there with Leslie. We've been looking at properties. We're close to tying one up. But this acceptance is going to have to be subjected to her finding suitable housing within a certain period of time. Period. See, I think you have to explain to the consumer, they have a perception of the way our business works that's incorrect. They believe that when they list, they may have to sell. Not all of them, but some of them might believe that. They may believe that when they get a full price offer, they have to sell. They may believe that that's the only condition and they have to sell. So what you're doing is bringing things in like, hey, Leslie, what I would say, though, is best practices. Let's get out there right away and start trying to find houses you would like. And we only have to predicate it based on a simultaneous closing. We don't have to say, well, she needs 30 days to find suitable housing and then another 45 to close on it. So if we can just get it all going at once, but I don't want you to be panicked, we can call the whole thing off if you start to stress out. It's just that reassurance, Leslie, that there is no such thing as being homeless. Now, the dirty little trick some agents do play is they don't tell them that. And they do force them into a difficult situation. So there are indeed stories out there that happens, but not on your watch.
I had a question for you, Danny, as well, if you have a little bit of time.
Of course, I do. Jump in.
A lot of the times people are also dealing with families and friends as the realtors, and they kind of just write you off. They're like, actually, I changed my mind. I think I'm going to go with my family or friend. What sort of language do you use to acknowledge that, but at the same time,
good question.
tell them that, look, there's options out there. Why don't you sit down and meet with us to see what, because there's sometimes people are putting their back up, and I wanted to see if there's a better way to deal with that.
Yeah, there's no doubt. One of the most difficult things to overcome as a competitive strategic professional like you are and your entire team is the fact that somebody will make a whimsical decision to engage in one of the largest financial and emotional transactions in their life with their friend or family member who barely has any experience and is very likely underexperienced and not able to handle it in the best way. This is a very complicated business, okay? So that's a very frustrating thing for us, those of us who spend an enormous amount of time professionalizing our approach. I get it. But as you said, and we've talked about you and I in the past, the ability, and Laura and I are actually training on this, I'm training her, as well as reiterating it to myself, the most professional real estate agents are able to control emotion and go straight to logic. Say, oh, great, I didn't realize when we first started talking that you had a family member in the business. Great, where does she work? Engage it. Lean in when the dog bites, right? Engage it. Well, she's over at Sotheby's. Oh, great, there's a lot of nice people over there. How long has she been there? Oh, 6 months. Oh, really? Well, you know what I'd like to do instead? We believe in goodwill here at our group at Metro City, right? We believe in goodwill. So what I'd still like to do is send you out our 7-point course. It's really our strategic approach to this, and we've been doing it a lot longer than 6 months, and I think it'll help both you and your sister who's over at Sotheby's, right? You take a look at that. Also, what I'd still like to do is give you some insights from a property evaluation standpoint. Perhaps that'll help you both. And again, if you're open to a second opinion, would still love to meet with you and go through it with you. Because although it's sort of like having a family member who's a doctor, there's nothing wrong with a second opinion. It can't hurt you, I suppose. Something like that, right? You have to be willing, and where this industry is not. We have such a scarcity mentality. My gosh, send our home seller course to somebody who's going to list it with Sotheby's? Screw them. It's just not the goodwill that we need to put forward in business.
Or you could offer them a referral fee. Maybe they feel sort of obligated to use the family.
If it doesn't go well.
Yeah,
See, because what we'd like to be, Avis Auto Rentals did this brilliantly, right? We're number 2, but we try harder. You know what I mean? It's leaning into the reality of the situation, Hannah, where there is somebody there, okay? What we'd like to do is at least get you introduced to us. So if it doesn't work out, if it comes on the market, doesn't sell, and then we'd always be willing to pay your family member a referral fee. Right? And if you disarm them by giving rather than trying to defend or make them feel stupid for that decision, it's amazing how much more they'll open up. Well, I am a little bit nervous. She only been there 6, months. Well, I understand that. It'd still probably go fine. But what we can do is, why don't we come over and we'll give you the education, full blown, and we'll show it to you. Now, you're in the house. Now you're demonstrating the entire strategic professional approach. It gets a lot harder to not really consider you. But even still, they're going to look at you and go, Hannah, we loved you guys. I mean, in fact, if she wasn't in the business, we would absolutely say, you're the one, hands down, your team. Problem is, I'll end up in a real problem with my family if I don't do this. Great. Why don't you give it a whirl? If it doesn't work out, you know where to find us. Hannah, thank you. And you know what, Hannah? I'm going to refer all my friends to you. Like, that's marketing too. So we don't want to miss the opportunity with this goodwill to spread our brand by sharing. If you get that scarcity of mentality, even at a subconscious level, it's not going to sound that giving. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, and actually I'm glad that you mentioned for us to give the free home seller course, because I recently had a very good conversation with a client that I was talking to for a couple of weeks, and he's like, you know what, I'm really sorry, but we're just going to go with a friend that's a real estate agent. It's not that we don't want to go with you for any reason, but he's been our friend for 30 years. We're going to use him, but thanks for taking the time to follow up and call. But I still sent the home seller course by mail, so we'll see what happens. I told him if for any reason it doesn't work out, we're happy to help, but I don't know if he'll actually ever call us back.
It doesn't matter. You did the right thing. It's over. You spread goodwill. And if Tarek's sitting here listening to this, he has to know that in the city, there's this goodwill being spread with his brand attached to it, thanks to a good job that you did. Look we waste more money on random lead generation, and here you are talking to a real prospect and you give the gift. That can't help but come back to this team somewhere. It can't help but come back. It just will, right? You got to believe in that. Believe in goodwill. It's a real thing.
Right. It's also, it's a rural property. I said, the likeliness of it actually selling anytime soon probably won't happen. So I asked him, if you're on the market for some time and you feel like the property is not moving, can I give you a call to follow up? And he said, sure.
Exactly.
And I just said, okay, well, good luck, and I do hope you sell your home sooner than rather than
Exactly.
later.
So now he's got your home seller course. You have permission to follow up down the line, by him directly. You're not being solicitous. You already had the relationship before it's listed. You follow up and check in and see how it's going. Can I help? Is there anything I could do? Right? Can I send you any other information to help your friend get it sold? They might have had a falling out by then. A lot of friends get started together and they get pissed off at each other, right? Hey, I've got somebody right now that refers me business, and she said, look, she's with her niece, and the niece is off Cape, and she really wanted to go with you, but she just couldn't. Would you mind swinging by? No problem. I drove by the front door and said, look, Val, I'm sitting out front. This is a tough sell. You're on a double yellow line, just looking from the outside. The stuff that's selling this price range really starts with a 4, not a 5. I brought that to them, right? I did try to go by and even go to an open house. Nothing's going to happen for me other than goodwill with my referral source and this other woman, right? And if they have a falling out, I will be there because I took that step. Go ahead, Tarek. You wanted to say something there. We cut you off.
No, I was actually on mute there. I'm just listening.
Okay, cool. Was somebody else? I heard a guy's voice. Somebody wanted to weigh in there. Or I'll take another question here. Let's keep it moving.
Danny, it's Dean.
Hey,
Danny,
bud.
it's Dean, real quick. It's also a great opportunity. It's also a great opportunity to get online reviews. Just a thought.
Okay.
They were able. I didn't hire them, but they were willing to give me all the info that they needed.
Yeah,
That I
Dean.
needed.
Dean, if it's there, it feels.
Quick and easy.
If it's there, it feels gratuitous
there,
to me.
right.
Yeah, it feels gratuitous to me. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? You're going to ask for it? I mean, I get where you're coming from. I feel like it's an awkward moment to. How would you get there? Let me let you expand on your thought.
No, I'm only saying if it's teed up for you and they're that grateful, thanks so much. Listen, we'll do whatever we can. You send them a follow-up email with a link and just a brief explanation. I know we didn't get the opportunity to work with you. We're here to help. If at any chance you have a minute, check out our site, and we'd love it if you gave us a review of the conversation.
Yeah, sure. You know what I'd rather them.
I personally have not done it often, but I've seen it done. It works well.
You know what I'd rather them ask for? Hey, you don't happen to have any friends or family that are also thinking about selling? Go right for the other referral, right? Right? It's like a prospecting call.
You gotta be Columbo. You always gotta ask for one more question.
Yeah, I agree. Totally. All right, I got time for one more question or a little anecdote, inside or outside sales. I'll take whatever. Somebody throw me one quick bone. We'll speed it up. Somebody. Staggering. None of you have any challenges in the field. You're all crushing it. Everybody's a $50 million producer. It's amazing. I've been that successful as a coach. He said sarcastically. Come on, one more. Wow, sad. All right, that's it. I'm done. Have a wonderful weekend. Go practice this stuff in the field because it works. You got a big takeaway here today. It's about the beats. Organize your beats inside and outside. Don't keep getting lost in rambling. No good. It's not good, right? And it allows you to be a good listener without getting lost. Go out and practice. I will expect Pat and Dave to give me another one, and I'll speed through them, Sarah, because they'll be much shorter next week, won't they? Right?
Yes, they will.
All right, off we go.
Yes.
Good work, everybody. Thanks for participating. See you later.
Thank you.